The race to the championship begins today. This is the start of our final round. With only 5 drivers left to contend for the title, every moment matters. Every move made has a big impact. This is your last chance. Drivers enter the round of 5 knowing that it's go big or go home. And the best drivers in the field have made it to this point, and what an honor it is. Ethan Lane, Blake Cannon, Hunter Madalenis, Thomas Bressi, and Jared Davis. For some of these drivers, it's their very first time fighting for an integrity championship. For Thomas Bressi, he's made the final round in all 4 seasons to this point and has not yet come away a title winner. Stakes are high. This is the last chance as drivers are now beginning the final round of action for the 2025 Integrity Ignite Series season. And with our 28th race on the calendar, welcome back to FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Croyt, commentating and producing. This is the race that many of these drivers have been looking forward to since the beginning of the season, the start of the final challenge. Whether or not their championship involved or otherwise, there's no denying that the tension on the track tonight is different. It's palpable and everyone knows what's at stake. We got a field today of just 29 drivers. It's just under the 30 clip, but it's still as competitive as it gets, with Ethan Lane taking the pole position by a full 1/10 of a second. Michael Araya now going to be scored just outside the podium. Big changes as Jared Davis ends up going second and Jack Drucker goes third. Davis is one of the final 5 drivers, as is Ethan Lane. So with those two so tight to each other, already a battle to be brewing. Here's Josh Gallagher, one of the drivers who has not yet taken the time. So far, 20 drivers have taken at least 1 lap. Here's Tom Wetmore, Hunter Madalenis, your rookie in the final 5. He's got the least experience of all drivers, but he's had a great season with 3 wins on the calendar. However, all of those wins coming before the summer stretch, and he's been on a little bit of a cold streak for the past few months. And while he's been fast, he hasn't yet been able to find that way back to victory lane. Now, it's going to be another run across the stripe for Madalenis. His first lap goes 26th, looking for a big improvement. Thomas Bressi sits P9. Davis is going to be second. 4th is Cannon, Ethan Lane P1. So right now, Bressi in 9th is the second lowest of your top 5. We'll see if Madalenis gets up in their mix. And if Hunter qualifies in the top 10, means all 5 of your championship contenders will be there. At the line for Hunter, he's going to take it from 13th place and goes up to 4th. So right in the middle of the battle, Hunter Madalenis qualifying P4 ahead of Blake Cannon, just behind Jared Davis. A few drivers have still not taking a lap. There's Tyler Hensley, one of them. Tom Wetmore now looking to take his second and last of which, and he's getting himself prepared for what's to come. Tom's sitting in P20 with 30 seconds left on the clock. And Blake Cannon rolling low. He was only beat by Madalenis by 9/1000ths of a second. So such a small margin, but that's going to be a position loss for Cannon. I don't think it's going to be the biggest position to lose anyway, but for Blake, it will be another thing to look at. Another hurdle to cross. He'll head down to pit road, but Ethan Lane, who has been the most successful driver by the numbers, he continues to paint the picture. Lane qualifies on the pole position tonight from Las Vegas with a quick time, a 30.294. With Ethan taking it up to the top of the charts, your 8-time race winner has done it again. And from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Lane in the number 6 is going to make it his 11th pole of the campaign. How about that number for Lane? Another time at the top, and he is set tonight for what would actually be his 10th win. 8 wins prior to the doubleheader that he had, winning 2 back-to-back weeks, 17 top 10s, 14 top 5s in 24 starts for Lane, and now he's got a shot to go for 10 wins tonight to add to a double-digit number of poles. a remarkable campaign he's had. All the top 5 drivers have been the best of the best throughout this season. Across this campaign, it's all about the most consistent and the strongest. Every single one of these drivers competing for the championship has at least 9 top 5s, and they all have at least 11 top 10s to their name. So, with that in mind, these are the drivers who have been able to so regularly succeed that it has become commonplace for them, and that is expected to be the same as we get settled in one more time. And so, with that said, this is your first starting lineup of the round of 5. The championship will be decided in these final 3 races, so it's not just tonight, but it all begins today. And in the next 210 miles, the work begins. And the work has already started for one man at the top of the order, and that is the number 6 of Ethan Lane. Lane finds himself to the pole position, and he'll take it to the inside of row number 1. Lane is your pole sitter. Jared Davis is in second. And then behind them both, you've got Jack Drucker, the rookie, the number 56, in third. Drucker is fighting for the Rookie of the Year title alongside Jared Davis and Hunter Madalenas. And it's a tight fight between all of them as Blake Cannon starts just behind Madalenas in 5th, and Nick Tarbuck will get the ball rolling for the 29 team. He will be P6. 7th place on the day, Michael Araya with Sam Nieto 8th, Matthew Thunhorse 9th, Thomas Bresci, the last driver in this top 10, and he's also the last of the championship contenders qualifying wise to take that 10th spot. Tyler Hensley is 11th, Jacob Bife in the number 36 is P12, and Matt Sizzler, Vinny Tigner take 13th and 14th respectively. Ronnie Osmer is 15th with Justin Morton in 16th place. Sebastian Miller is 17th with Blake Gordon 18th, and the top 20 wraps up with Nicholas Ward in the number 97 and Tom Wetmore in the number 69. Wetmore today will be starting exactly on that 20th place. Then you'll have Calvin Filarski in 21st, Will Reichard in 22nd, and Casey Shue in 23rd. Brandon Bernhardt is 24th place with P25. Josh Gallagher, Daco Parka in 26th. 27th, Boomer Logan and Steve Durham 28th, with your only driver not taking a time. The 29th and last starter on the day, Kyle Cooper. 15 rows of drivers, 14 filled. Now we begin our championship chase, and who better than our top seed to bring us to green? Ethan Lane grabs the pole position from Las Vegas, and we are less than 5 minutes away from taking the green flag from Las Vegas. Final practice is set to close. Taking a look at some of the drivers who are on the racetrack right now. One, for instance, is Thomas Bresci. Bresci right now getting himself fully prepared, and no surprise here that he's one of the guys who's at least gone on for a lap in this session, just trying to put things together. Maybe not a bad qualifying spot. I mean, by all means it isn't, but maybe not where he expected to be. 9th and last of all his contemporaries. Thomas is the final seeded man in, and he's looking to make some waves, of course. As we know, multi-time championship contender. Add to that a multi-time runner-up finisher in the championship last season. With less than a dozen laps to go in our season finale, he was leading until a connection failure, and Braxton DeWeese ended up winning the championship by that virtue. Here's Kyle Cooper on his way, Jack Drucker, the rookie, as well, and looks like we got all types of drivers from the front of the field on down getting their extra reps in, and this is the last chance they have. A lot of last chances tonight in Las Vegas. The last time we were here was early spring in the Octane Series. Jacob Bife came away the winner on an unbelievable 2-tire strategy. He collected the checkered flag when no one else had faith in that call, and he was the only driver who was able to succeed with it. "140 laps. Opening race, last round. The field is collected and set to move. Lane and Davis are a fitting combination up in front as well, some of our strongest all season long, and they're set to get to work. Now, I don't think we're going to be seeing a one-stop strategy today. Most likely, we are going to have multiple stops in effect. You'll have most likely 2 stops. If it's under green for the majority of the day, 2 stops will play out well. A 70-lap split is practically impossible. Just comes down to there being over 100 miles in that stint. And with that being said, the fuel tank is only about 90 miles for these Xfinity cars. So you'll most likely see drivers coming in at about lap 45, anywhere from 40 to 50 laps if we continue fully green. That's the expectation as Ethan Lane and Jared Davis are supposed to set us off tonight. Hunter Madalenis, a rookie alongside Jack Drucker, and Drucker by the skin of his teeth not making it to his first ever Final 5, and it's been between Madalenis, Davis, and Jack Drucker for those Rookie of the Year honors, and Davis is a rookie. Keep in mind, of the modern era, he's had some experience priorhand, and of course, he's well esteemed in iRacing, but he's also one of those brand new guys who actually missed Speed Week as he signed up the week after that. But the rookies have been great this season, and Davis has been able to acquire that double duty status where he's been able to shave a little bit more of that inexperienced nature in this field off. He's gotten a lot more time in, and he's been able to win consistently, and all things considered, even though Drucker didn't make the Final 5, he, Madalenis, and Davis have been an amazing rookie class, and they have kept the top of this field on their toes. I think Ethan Lane would attest to that in the fullest, as he will now have to deal with these guys as he gets back into motion tonight. It's going to be 140 racing laps under the Nevada sun. Conditions look to be mild, all things considered. Ambient temperature, anyway, is coming in at about 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So not a particular concern. Track temp is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. And so, with minimal usage on the circuit, drivers should be able to stick themselves on well and not be concerned with wearing out the tires too much. However, tire fall off is expected to be big. You'll see 30-second laps to start like you did in qualifying. You'll see 32-second laps to end the stint, and maybe a little bit slower if drivers get slippery. Green flag ends this, of course, round of 10, brings us to the round of 5, and the last chance is on. The battle to become a championship winner begins tonight. 5 drivers, 1 throne. Who's here to take it? Ethan Lane, your top-seeded driver, brings us to green. We're underway from Nevada to open the championship fight. And so it goes. Jack Drucker to the inside on Ethan Lane, and the number 56 takes that quick pass for the race lead, the first of the night, and he finds himself advantageous over the rest of the field. You'll then have the number 6 of Ethan Lane, second place, just a little bit further behind. Third place, of course, Jared Davis, and they run, relatively speaking, in calm procedural order. Side by side now, though, between Tarbuck and Thomas Bresci. Double file and a little bit of triple wide. There's Michael Laraya. Laraya just not able to make the best out of that round of 10. And while he was leading some laps late last week, it would have taken that Hail Mary victory to have a shot. And unfortunately, he just wasn't able to get the best out of the car, and it just didn't translate. Laraya is your 2024 Octane Series champion, and he's got something to hold his head on as the field returns to the Octane Series next year on Tuesday nights. But when it comes to Ignite competition, unfortunately, not able to conquer the field, although a multi-win season in his first year, a great job, and he proved the talents definitely transfer over, and he was able to go head-to-head with Ethan Lane in Michigan in what was an amazing race for him. The number 44 of Laraya proving he still has the stuff, and he's there for a reason. Thomas Bresci up into 7th. And still, while he's in the top 10 and firmly in the single digits, he is the 5th of 5 championship fighters. Just goes to show how tight the field is up and ahead. Vinny Tigner going at it here, just behind the frame. He's in the number 12 in 12th with Tyler Hensley. And you got Michael Laraya, the number 44, now moved a little further up. It's he, Tarbuck, and Matthew Thunhorst, three wides. Thunhorst on the high side. Middleman is Tarbuck. Way low is the 44 of Laraya. 07 of Hunter Madalenis keeps it on the bottom. He's still trying to fend off Jared Davis here. Ethan Lane leads the championship standings, and here's how it's going to work out from this point onward. All points are entirely reset, so everything that you've seen to this point basically doesn't count for anything. Of course, it gets you into the round of 5, but once you're there, everyone is starting from 0, and as they do so, it's now going to become a matter of who scores the most points. Wins will not automatically give you the championship. Now, if you finish well, you've got a better chance of succeeding. It's pretty simple. Just outscore, outfinish, and outdrive your competitors. But again, that's easier said than done. Blake Cannon getting ahead of Lane. Whoever finishes highest of the 5 championship drivers tonight will leave Las Vegas as your championship leader. And a win, which is very likely to come from one of these 5, that's a huge elevation, but it is not a locked-up championship, just off that note. 8 laps out of 140. And so Matthew Thunhorst also getting in the mix. Thunhorst is going to be playing the role, perhaps just a little bit of a spoiler tonight. He has been a wonderful driver this season, of course, as he always is. And the only thing that's different is that he's not going to be racing for the championship this season. He did clinch his way into the Final 5. However, he will be missing races to end the season, and so he's decided to pass the baton over to teammate Thomas Bressi. However, right now, JTM is making some noise with one of its flagship 3, the M in Matthew Thunhorst. Justin Morton, Thomas Bressi, Matthew Thunhorst, that's the big 3 from JTM. They're a multi-car organization with guys like Gael Brooks on the back end, or Tyler Hensley, or Casey Shue, but you got to point your attention to those 3 guys who have been doing it all season long. Of course, Justin Morton able to get through with his biggest and best win in Portland to clinch a playoff spot. Bressi, 1 win on the season. Matthew Thunhorst, the regular season champ, more of the same. And Thunhorst has the honor of being a 2-time regular season champion. He did it in the very first season in 2023, and he did it here in 2025. So even if he's not racing for the championship, he is putting down good laps and keeping the field rather tight. 31.484 that time by from leader Drucker. We're seeing about a second worth of fall off relative to qualifying. And I think that's exactly what was anticipated. Thomas Bressi and company still battling it out. Jared Davis on the low. Bressi middle. And then you got Jacob Fife with Vinny Tigner there. Jacob and Vinny hanging on to the very back end of this top 10 conversation. Jacob right here, the last man in it. Vinny is the first man out. It's tight, and it looks like it's going to stay tight. No doubt about it, these 2 drivers right on each other. But you got to wonder, how aggressive will they get? Both of them are outside of the championship running, and they're watching now as ahead of them immediately are those 5 guys. Surprisingly, it's not a championship contender leading early. And while that might sound immediately shocking, I think it also makes some sense here. Jack Drucker has no reason not to go out there and fight for a win. Likewise, the drivers behind don't have as much of an incentive. The championship guys don't need to win to lock up a title. It comes down to whether or not they got the stuff over 3 races. And so if you finish second 3 times, for example, and that could happen, it will be better than finishing first once and then finishing 15th 2 other times. Consistency is now going to be rewarded over everything else. And while to make it to this point in the previous few rounds, it was a consistent game of getting there, getting to victory lane, scoring the most points, and logging the best performances above everyone else. Now it's not necessarily that case. You can afford to lose some spots and drop back so long as those 4 other drivers that you're trying to keep at bay are also there. And you can see here, Cannon, who is currently your title leader, he finds himself now falling a little bit further back. Cannon with pressure from Matthew Thunhorst and Michael Laraya. all the while, Ethan Lane getting in the mix and maybe trying to get back on both of them. Lane is low, Lariah is up top, Matthew Thunhorse is there in the middle. Side by side as they roll down the back straightaway. Here comes Lane. Lane has been able to take it to the inside, the outside, and everywhere in between consistently over the course of our season of racing. And it shows with the 9 victories he has here, and of course the fact that he now has double-digit victories in 2 consecutive Octane Series seasons. Now coming in with a total of 19 wins across the 2025 Integrity Racing League. It's a difficult thing to match what we've seen out of Lane. But now it becomes more difficult for him because all the work he's been doing to put himself head and shoulders above each and every driver, it's not lost, but it isn't going to be reflected as much as it would be over a full season formula, in which case Lane likely would have ran away, and his biggest championship rival would be Matthew Thunhorse. Thunhorse has been immensely more consistent than anyone else, and he's been able to do so over some more starts, so he had the backing of more positions and more races. He has 21 top 10s, Matthew Thunhorse, which is the most of anyone in this series. However, he only has 1 win to Lane's 9 and 11 top 5s to Lane's 14, 3 stage wins to Lane's 8, and 3 poles to Ethan Lane's 10. However, the king of the top 10 finish has done it again and again and again, and that's the big edge he has over everyone. Even if by the numbers, Lane basically has him beat across the board otherwise. But since it's a non-regular points race, it's playoff bays, that wouldn't matter to begin with. And to add to that now for Lane, even though he's head and shoulders up on those statistics, it doesn't matter. He could have skated his way in by virtue of good playoff running and maybe even done so without a win. And that driver, that hypothetical driver, would be on the exact same footing as where Ethan Lane is right now. Goes to show that while the work has been very, very valuable in getting here, it doesn't mean it's going to guarantee you anything else. Now it's just about building back up and doing it again. Lane low, Drucker ahead of him. So Blake Hanna has taken the race lead. Keep that in mind. Drucker's fallen back, and in doing so, the 27 is quietly taking the advantage over the rest of the field. It'll be Cannon leading the championship, and by that same virtue, it'll be Ethan Lane in second in points. Hunter Madalenis then going to be there in P3. Thomas Bressy's gotten himself up to 4th, so this is the highest he's been running. Jared Davis now runs in 10th place on the track, and 5th and last of your championship 5. Just like that, it's a little bit of a shuffle. Cannon to the front, Bressy making waves, and Jared Davis all the way behind. Lane to second. With the pressure being a little bit differently approached and perceived by every driver on the track, gotta wonder how Lane is going to tackle it. Ethan has never been a driver to back off based on pressure. Remember, during one of our off weeks this season, he was able to go to the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series and make his debut at the top level of simulated racing. Of course, NASCAR sanctioned, the prize pool of over $300,000, and the promise of racing against the best of the best in sim racing. Well, Ethan Lane was able to make that a reality. He actually had that experience, came back, and just kept winning races here. So keep in mind, Ethan Lane is as strong as it gets as a driver, and he's got that experience, so I don't think pressure is going to be a burden on him tonight, but it also is a different approach so far from what we've seen out of Lane throughout this year. Ethan has tried a couple of styles, and some of them have been more successful than others. In the beginning of the season, he liked to lay back. He was in the mid-teens to start races, and then he would surge up in front. Maybe a lack of confidence to start the season just with a new group of guys. We had more than 45 showing up week by week, and he found himself more comfortable lying back and getting up in front rather than immediately doing the dirty business. Of course, passing everyone. And midway through the season and in the early playoff going, we've seen more of that traditional Ethan Lane where he has been able to just start the race up in front, get away. We started seeing it in races, even some of them he didn't win, where Watkins Glen, he confidently sprung out in the opening section and went head-to-head with Matthew Thunhorst. Or, of course, we've seen races out of Lane where he's been able to control it from beginning to end, or even Daytona where he was in the conversation, but did it a third way, staying around the top 10, staying around the top 5, but only peaking out late as the shining star. He never fell back too far. He kept himself in the mix, and at Daytona, across 175 green flag miles, he was able to win. Speaking of flags, yellow flag is out for the first time today. Brandon Bernhardt among those involved. Take a look. Brandon up high, and he was there with Steve Durham. And the incident looks like that happening to 3 and 4. Here's a replay of the full last lap. Yup, contact Durham into Bernhardt. They slide, and luckily, Bernhardt's only damage is going to come from being tagged by Durham. So he should be able to continue. Steve in the 21. More of the same, minimal damage, and both drivers will get away on with little trouble. They'll get away all right. Take a look on board. Just looks like both drivers going for the same room at the same time. And just some skating, slight skating, nothing crazy. They'll both make it through. Yellow flag is out, 25 laps in, out of 140. Cannon Lane gonna come through. Jared Davis moving up to the head of the field as Hunter Madalenis is deciding to do something different and stay on the track. We'll see if that ends up being the proper call as we're watching pit exit. Let's see who makes it out first. Blake Cannon over Lane, Michael Araya, Jack Drucker, Thomas Bressi, and then Nick Tarbuck. So, your championship contenders sorted from 3rd to 9th with only Michael Araya amongst them and between them. Jared is going to remain on the track and looks to be where he wants to be, of course, up in front with track position. .26 laps in out of 140. Madalenis, Davis, the holdouts, the rest of those title guys just behind off pit road. And so the split is some 26 laps, give or take. Matthew Thunhorst, it looks like, is deciding to drop down and in, so he'll get himself out of this one for the time being. 26 laps is going to make a considerable difference, but I think that Madalenis and Davis alike are trying to save themselves tire-wise just in case we see more cautions. Again, we have 3 extra sets on pit road. Drivers who just went in are burning through their first. That only leaves them with 2 remaining for the next 110 laps. So it makes sense to save, but it also makes sense that we're about the midway of what would have been our first green flag cycle, so going in has justification. Back straight away. All drivers, all 29 starters still with us here. Back at the field is Sam Nieto as he is parked right outside the racing line, and it looks like waiting up to get back in the cockpit, so he's taking some breaks and making sure he can get in line to do it again. Coming to 1 to green, restart at lap number 29. Madalenis, Jared Davis, the only 2 drivers that have themselves on old tire. everyone else. With Blake Cannon, Ethan Lane, Michael Araya all further back, they're set to get to business. And they'll go racing this time by. Of course, all eyeing Ethan Lane, the championship contenders. They're trying to take him down as a top seed, but right now, Jared Davis and Hunter Madalenas particularly, public enemies number 1 and 2 on the front row. Right now, Sam Nieto getting caught up with the field. Matthew Thunhorst as well. We'll get back to business. So, some big movers so far. 20th up to 11th, Tom Wetmore. Blake Gordon, 18th up to 10th. He's gained 8 places. Impressive work so far between those two guys. Combined, they've made up 17 spots on their own. And you'll have 29th to 16th in Kyle Cooper. He has gained 13. Getting the ball rolling. Hunter Madalenas with some pressure. And it's going to be heavy off the back of Blake Cannon. Green flags out, and it's time to roll. Madalenas leads the field to green, and Cannon already passing Davis on old rubber. While Jared Davis immediately falls back, it takes the better part of a lap to get up to Hunter Madalenas, and it's now Blake Cannon's domain once again. Michael Araya now having himself second. Thomas Bressi just to the inside of him. And of course now riding in third. Drucker, Lane, Tarbuck all together. And now your top 5 guys spread out even less so, as Hunter Madalenas is in the mix, Blake Cannon there as well. Jared Davis now dropping to the outside of the top 10. 30 laps in out of 140, and still going down the line. Cannon, no longer your leader. Michael Araya taking it to the point, and take a look off the backside with the number 24 already chasing him. Thomas Bressi with an early resurgence. He qualified last of his championship contemporaries, but now he leads the points with the highest position. Bressi getting about a half a second over their next drivers in Cannon and Lane. And for the first time tonight, he's got himself a breakout. Not the best start, but this caution giving a chance to rejuvenate. And with new rubber, he has come alive. That's the number 24 team for JTM Motorsport, looking as good as new now, as we are approaching rapidly the 100 lap to go marker. 32 laps in out of 140. Most drivers coming into pit road at about lap number 26. And so we might see our next green flag pit cycle, hypothetically, at about lap number 85. We could go up to about 95 in that case, and regardless of which, that would be the last pit stop cycle if we run it out under green. And most notably anyway, you got some drivers who have changed it up. Hunter Madalenas, of course, and Jared Davis. They would have to come down to pit road much earlier, and they'll basically be off cycle for the rest of the race. The only hope for Davis would be that if he goes for a one-stop call, which he's done before and he's succeeded with, even though he's outside of the running right now, he might just be the only driver that can pull off the unthinkable and get himself a win even in this bad spot, so long as we stay under green. Michael Araya up and ahead of Thomas Bressi. Bressi made one charge, but again, he doesn't have to worry about charging for the win. It's not going to be a huge concern anyway. As long as he's ahead of those top 5 guys, he'll be good to go and not have to have any problems and stressing himself out too much for the lead. Laraya's not a championship contender, and he can just stay in the wake of his draft, and he doesn't even have to control strategy here, which is Not always a good thing to hear, but again, with the fact that it's only a 5-driver battle for the title and basically nothing else matters, you only have to keep yourself ahead strategy-wise of those who are going for the title. Michael Araya can basically do whatever he pleases, and he could set the tone for the entire field, and if he does that, then it's going to be pretty easy just to follow through. The pressure's not on to make the right call at the right time, at least to the same degree, and if you got a little of that workload off yourself, then you can prioritize just running your own race. Blake Cannon now with his teammate and Tom Wetmore. Wetmore getting up from 20th place into the single digits. He's now in 8th and might be going for his teammate's spot in 7th. Jacob Fife and Ethan Lane are also watching here. Lane not yet able to get back in ahead of Blake Cannon. Still no telling who's going to break out late in the going here. It looked like it was everyone but Thomas Bresci to start, and yet right now it is all Thomas Bresci after our first caution. The back and forth also has sent Davis and Hunter Madales to the back of the field as they run now 21st and 22nd respectively, and it looks like now they're just going to try to tough it out on this strategy call and keep it going. 37 laps in out of 140 here. And as these two keep it rolling, no problems yet. Michael Araya, 7th up to 1st. Thomas Bresci, 10th to 2nd. Jack Drucker, 3rd to 3rd. He has not made any changes qualifying-wise, but from 4th on 7th, you got multiple drivers who all absolutely have. 15th to 4th in Ronnie Osmer, who's now up 9 spots. Well, he made it up to 11 spots. He's gotten by both Gordon and Hensley. Take those honors. Tyler Hensley, speaking of, is in the top 5 and looking for his 3rd of the season. He's 11th up to 5th, gaining 6. Up 12 is Blake Gordon, and Tom Wetmore up 13, 20th to 7th. Those drivers have made up some of the most passes of any bundle in the entire field. Again, 29th to 11th for Kyle Cooper has been great. Here comes Vinny Tigner trying to take one from Wetmore. Now, Vinny's got himself there. That's going to be good for 7th. Vinny's also made some gains, 14th up to 7th, so he's up 7 places here. How about Kyle Cooper, though? He's now up 19 places, and Cooper's got himself nearly 20, and he might be the only driver that can comfortably do that tonight, given that he started 29th and last, and he's going all the way, trying to go from the back of the field onto the front, and Cooper is a man on a mission to go to P8. Now running 21 spots up in front. Great for him. 28th place starter is up 7 in Steve Durham. 27th place starters right now up 5 in Boomer Logan. And as it stands, Kyle Cooper 21 up. He is the anomaly of everyone, while Michael Araya is checked out by a full second over Ronnie Osmer, Jack Drucker, Tyler Hensley, and Blake Gordon. And here it comes. Gordon, 6th place. Endeavor Motorsport with 2 drivers. The 81 of Bernhardt, the 13 of Gordon. Right now, Blake running and carrying the banner. And he's had some great strong starts. A few finishes that have been better as of late. But always a driver who's got that short run down pat. Everything else is never a guarantee. We'll see what Vinny Tigner can do from here. Two laps in out of 140, 99 laps remaining. Take a look on board with Tigner here as he now looks for Tyler Hensley after getting past Gordon. Drucker falling back. The 56 going to watch out now. Tigner now coming into his stride, and he's a great driver at these intermediates who got some experience on SNT's racing run last weekend, of course. Tigner was almost in the cards for victory. It just came down to tire strategy. He was 3 laps too short, had to come down and in and sacrifice a shot for the checkered flag. Ethan Lane behind Tigner, 7th place for Lane, and still struggling to get further up in front. Now, I'm not sure if it's a real struggle here, if he's just biding his time. Blake Cannon has dropped back down to the 9th position, Tom Wetmore in 10th, and it looks like Gordon going to separate himself and become the barrier for Cannon and Gordon, of course, then Ethan Lane. Ethan now trying to make a move on Vinny Tigner. That'll get him up to 6th. Tyler Hensley's the 5 car, of course, and that might be for 5th if Ethan can get there. Starting to see that comeback in motion. Ethan again going down the order thanks to that pit stop cycle, but right now everyone's on the same level of tire. Michael Araya is a second up, and he has been basically checking out to this point. Ronnie Osmer has caught up to Thomas Bresci, and now he's sliding down low. So Osmer having himself a good run as he gets down to the bottom. Good to see the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet succeeding again. Ronnie has had a few good runs throughout the season. It began at Daytona, and to open up the playoffs and get himself in there, he definitely had to fight for it and showed he had top 5 pace. Just a series of unfortunate incidents at the very end of it. The opening round of 15 meant that he really couldn't continue on competing for the title, but he's proven that he has the stuff. And on a night like this, Osmer's at his best, and he is still contending firmly. 15th up to 3rd, he's gained 12 places. Ronnie up all the way to the top of the circuit. Ethan Lane, watch him go at it. Jack Drucker, 3rd down to 5th, down 2 places. He's let the pole sitter go by. Win number 10. That's the potential for Ethan Lane if he does get it done tonight. And hopefully anyway, we talk about the numbers here for Ethan Lane. What we've seen so far is not just dominance, but that the viewers, of course, you guys understand this is unprecedented for the Integrity Racing League. The Ignite Series saw 11 different winners over the course of the opening 15 races. We didn't see that this season. And in large part, it came down to this man, with 9 victories taken. If you had those second-place drivers win races, we would have seen double-digit winners. We just couldn't because Ethan Lane found his way again and again and again, even at tracks, as we mentioned, like Daytona, where anyone could have won. He barely won that race, mind you. And he did it in a great fashion. It was a photo finish at the line, but the fact he pulled it off, I mean, your second-place man or your third-place driver, whoever it would have been, the fact that they didn't win, the parity has been single-handedly changed thanks to Lane. Now, it's a playoff format, so whatever happens, happens, but it would be a shock if Ethan Lane goes empty-handed championship-wise this season. There's a very real chance he goes with 2, as he now goes side-by-side for the championship lead with Thomas Bresci. Stakes are not sky high yet, but Lane does not want to have Bresci ahead of him any longer as the 6 car moves right down and in. Can't get there that time by, but Ethan sending that signal, and we'll see how Bresci responds to it. Side by side again, second attempt, and it looks like just going to be able to squeeze through, but he's still getting clamped down there. Bresci very well executing with the middle groove, and he's taking that second line and working it to perfection. Third time to charm for Lane down the back straight. Let's find out this time around. Lane up top, where Bresci's been, it's close, he can't clear. That's going to slow Bressi up, but can Ethan use that lane the same way Thomas has? That's the question. Now he's all the way up to the high side. Tire wear, again, it's exactly as we predicted. 2 seconds off relative to qualifying pace. Big wiggle for the 24 and the 6 that time by. Luckily, they'll straighten it out. That time by for Bressi, a 32.479. That's 2 seconds slower, 2 seconds and 100th added, slower than his qualifying time. Even still, Lane hasn't been able to find that way open. He's been at the door, he's been knocking on it, and he's been knocking on it real hard. And yet he hasn't been able to find that way. Ronnie Osmer now is seeing both the 24 and the 6 catch up to him, and so maybe Ronnie is going to get involved one way or another. Here comes Lane, working it down to the bottom. Can't quite get there. Swapping lanes back and forth, but Thomas Bressi has done something great here and he hasn't paid no attention. He definitely has been on defense, but he also hasn't freaked himself out and scurried out of line. And that's something that we've seen all throughout when drivers go at Ethan Lane here. Sometimes they make those fundamental mistakes, just not by working their own territory well. Bressi so far has done the exact opposite, and he has changed very little about his style, and that's what's kept him up in front. Lane is boxed out now as Ronnie Osmer is going to be a little bit of a blockade to the inside. Bressi gets on Osmer, and he'll take it toe-to-toe with the number 55. That is for second, and Ronnie just barely makes it right behind Bressi, and vice versa. Thomas with a nasty block in the 55. So Thomas Bressi just able to get by Ronnie Osmer. Ethan Lane having a little bit more struggle in doing so. That'll move him up to third place. Ronnie Osmer lying back in fourth. And this is what happens when the championship contenders, well, they get involved and they keep on fighting. Ronnie right now finding himself fourth place. I mean, he's 11 spots up. He's still having a great drive, but right now greater purposes are coming to mind. Blake Cannon side by side with Vinny Tigner, trying to get himself toe-to-toe, taking over. This would be for sixth place if Cannon can secure the pass. And it looks like Blake is able to do so. The 56 of Jack Drucker, watching and just waiting to see whether or not Cannon can get there. 2 championship contenders on the podium. You then have 3 in your top 10. Jared Davis right now in the number 19 runs way back. I mean, Davis right now actually finding himself 1 lap down after going down to pit road. Hunter Madalenis is still toughing it out, and he has stayed on the circuit in 26th. Madalenis, as a matter of fact, is deciding that this is going to be his time in as he gets in the wall and makes some contact. And he's having trouble, and looks like for both these drivers, significant issues. Ethan Lane now going by Michael O'Reilly. He got by Bressi. Here comes the number 44. And this time he's going backwards. Ethan Lane goes for a 2-for-1. Bressi slips up, and it's the number 6 at the top of the charts for the championship and this race. Lane for 10. That's the end goal. He's back on top, and your pole sitter, while lying back immediately to start this race, has recovered to take the lead again. Blake Cannon, Jack Drucker now going at it for 5th, and it looks like it even could be 4th place now, as Cannon is slowly but surely getting back up there. He's got a goal right now that I think has changed up as he's watching Bressi and Lariah start to fade back. Maybe now Cannon can get inside the podium and minimize the opportunities that he's using, of course, to get to the championship lead. Minimize the opportunities he's using to lose points, keep up there with Lane, and move on to the next race. The big deal of all big deals is what happens over the course of 3 races. Again, even if it's a bad race for your favorite driver, if you're watching with us on FTN, there's still a great chance that they can succeed again. We have 2 more races left. Bristol Motor Speedway next week, and last but certainly not least, where it all ends, and that will be the Homestead Miami Speedway on October 13th. So, if tonight doesn't go as well as it needs to, all things considered, there will be a lot more to come. We got hundreds of miles of racing, hundreds of laps of racing, and to finish the job, it just comes down to doing so in due time successfully by being consistent. And consistency is key, but of course, what's better? Winning all the time. And I think that's exactly what the goal is for Ethan Lane here. He'll come across the stripe again at lap number 64, and he keeps the lead. Thomas Bressi now about 0.4 of a second back, and Michael Araya has caught up again. Blake Cannon getting by Ronnie Osmer. Disposing of him, well, I don't know about disposing. He's still right there. But Jack Drucker could make it double trouble as the rookies are now fighting contact. Osmer, talk about disposed of. He nearly did get sent off the circuit. Now that was a big save, but he is still ice skating out here in Las Vegas. Tarbuck gets by, so does Gordon. Now Tom Wetmore. Ronnie Osmer moves back to 10th. And shaky. Osmer lucky to do that, but of course it's not just luck, just a great job in backing it down and doing so at speed. And now he's just got to try and recover. Tom Wetmore 20th up to 9th. He's going to now have 11 spots gained thanks to that one. Same goes for Blake Gordon, but they're at a crossroads with each other, and they're going to begin their own fight. Take a look on board with the 69 of Wetmore. Side by side to the line for lap number 67 to 68. The halfway marker is lap number 70, and we are right about there. With the run that we've been having here, keep in mind that most drivers will come to pit road within the next 20 laps. Looking at the numbers, last pit lap for all these front runners was 26, and so they can realistically go until lap number 85. Some might stretch up to 95, but that's an unpopular call in moments like this. We're probably going to see after the halfway point a slow trickling down to pit road. Some drivers like Hunter Madalenis going in at lap 60, Jared Davis going in at 57, and they did so closer to halfway, but not close enough for me to think that they're on cycle. And so unfortunately for the 07 and the 19, they might have to cut their losses and look for a better race to come after this. Ethan Lane, though, is going to bring them to halfway this time by, and the lead remains all his. 70 laps in, next time by 70 laps to go, as Ethan Lane leads the championship picture as it's Michael Araya and Thomas Bressi side by side for second. About 15 laps ago, Araya was passed by Bressi. Now it looks like these two drivers in opposite order, as the 44 has the momentum, the 24 not quite, and they are side by side all over again. Toe to toe, Blake Cannon right here. A little bit of quarter panel contact, perhaps a slight nudge. Bressi's going to feel that one, and he'll get driven up. Blake Cannon making his first appearance in the podium fight since the beginning of this race. 71 laps in out of 140, and a great way to return. Blake has been able to get away from the better part of this hornet's nest. Still a tight fight with Drucker, Vinny Tigner, the Lapper, and Matthew Thunhorst and Nick Tarbuck alike. And now it appears that we're looking at it again with the 24 Bresci having a real shot. See what happens here with Blake Cannon, side by side with him, nearly banging doors, but luckily no big contact. These two have to keep each other in check here. You do not want to see a big problem in a situation like this. Championship stakes are high, so can you imagine what would happen if these title contenders got into each other and wrecked? The stakes are already as high as they come. Damage in this situation would be turmoil. It would be some of the biggest drama and contention we have seen all season long. And right now, Thomas Bresci and Blake Cannon, 3rd and 4th respectively, well, they've just swapped over. Cannon now going to be running 2nd in the championship, Bresci for 3rd. These top 3 still running competitive laps, and of course they're in a much better spot than where Davis and, of course, Hunter Madalenas are. Both of them at the back of the field. Madalenas 26th, Davis P25. 67 laps remaining. Rucker watching as it's now side by side again between Tigner and Tarbuck. Vinny with a little bit of a shake off the corner there. Nick Tarbuck wobbles as well, but he doesn't waver all too much. Just a little bit of a slide, and it won't be detrimental. It's enough to outdo Vinny Tigner and take 6th firmly. Middle of the field with Casey Shue now up 8 places, 23rd to 15th. Great for him as he's ahead now of his teammate Justin Morton. Morton has not gained nor lost tonight. He finds himself 16th place on the dot, and so that is exactly where he's been since basically this thing got started. No changes there. He's having a solid night and not a difference to account for. Jared Davis, the Lapper here, he's making his waves and trying to get back into it. And as you can see now, he's faster, but he's also a lap down. Davis ducks low. Tigner follows suit, gets out of the way. Nick Tarbuck, more of the same here. Tarbuck now going to slide by. Jared Davis running 32-second laps as well. So he's not particularly that fast right now, but he is still able to get through with some more control. That's the big difference. He's got relative ease of just being able to move up and down, but he's running at the pace of the guys around him. Still not fast enough to really get back into competition. Blake Cannon, he gets himself by for 2nd, and now Michael Araya lies behind him. Cannon all of a sudden is up to something. You see Bresci's far behind the 44, but Blake looking really strong as of late. Driving low, Michael Araya trying to get it back again. As you can see, no sight of Davis there, nor Blake Cannon. Davis is coming up as the lapper. Blake Cannon right now, he's the all-black car on the lead lap. 2nd place even still. Ethan Lane, 1st to 1st. 62 laps to go. Cannon here still watching and waiting for his chance, and he has gotten considerably closer. Lane that time by was about 1/100 of a second slower, and over a long, consistent basis anyway, Ethan Lane has been slower. So this has given a better opportunity again and again for Cannon to come through. Ethan that time by 0.2 fully slower. And he wasn't able to make anything happen there. Cannon still at a standstill, but gaining tenths. He's right on the back end, and will we see our third lead swap of this run from Bressi to Lane to Cannon? Yes, we will. Blake Cannon now going to be clear to take the top spot in the race and championship. Side by side for second, Lariah and Lane, and Michael Lariah saving up his stuff, and he too has a better shot. Michael now going to take himself to the middle of the podium, and Ethan Lane has been usurped from top to bottom. Thomas Bressi now going to be coming up with Jared Davis. Michael Lariah and Ethan Lane, well, they battled each other for quite a long while, and for the most of it, we thought that Lariah would be the driver who got off worst, but instead, he is looking for the lead again. 59 laps to go. All of a sudden, Michael Lariah with the resurgence of the race, and he's got one more shot for a win. Michael low, Blake Cannon still high. Dropping into turns 1 and 2, not clear yet for the 44. Michael's trying to get there. Blake Cannon has not made it easy. The difference maker right now is just going to be those runs off the straightaways. And right now, Blake Cannon has been able to keep himself relatively level thanks to that fact. But it isn't going to be enough for long. Off the runoff, it's going to be Michael Lariah. He'll take it to P1. Jared Davis, second place. Well, if he was able to hang on and keep himself on the lead lap, that's not the case. Instead, he's just going to get his lap back now thanks to the fact he's got new rubber with 57 laps to go. We are still waiting to see Lariah come in, as the same case for Blake Cannon, and Thomas Bressi cautions out second time tonight. Back of the field, trouble for Dak Oparka. And here's what happened. Oparka in the number 10 involved in your second incident of the day, and we'll see whether or not this was multi-car or just a self-slide out. Dak going high, looks like new rubber. 3 wide middle, and contact from Calvin Filarski spins the number 10 out. Not a major problem, not a lot of damage, but even still, yellow flag will fly. And so with Oparka bringing to an end our longest green flag run, it brings to a beginning what will be our biggest and perhaps most important pit stop cycle of the night. Michael Lariah will have control, and of the championship contenders, Blake Cannon will have the edge on the way in compared to Bressi and Lane. It looks like while Lane had the mid-stages covered well, when the going got rough and we went longer, it was all Blake Cannon resurging and getting up to the top of the podium from out of it. Here we go. Pit stop cycle for all the marbles. 4 tires and fuel. Not expecting to see anyone do different. Last time we were in a late race cycle situation, though, doing it different was the winning call from Jacob Fife. However, that was under green, so keep that in mind. Right now, with everyone coming in together, there's no real incentive, especially if you're a championship contender, to do it differently. Davis and Hunter Madalenis might be a different case since they're far off strategy-wise. But now they're set to go at it again. Cannon ahead of Lariah, Bressi, Ethan Lane, Vinny Tigner, and so on and so forth back. Now we've got it put together. Cannon advantageous with 55 to go, and as he leads in of your championship contenders, he will lead out. We'll come to green with 53 laps remaining, but until then, here's a brief message from our friends at iRacing.com. For more than 17 years, iRacing Motorsport Simulations been the best place to go to start your sim racing career, and if you're interested, learn more right now. Visit iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast. With less than 60 to go, we'll return right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
"53 laps remaining, 1 to green for our second restart of the day. The 27 of Blake Cannon is your championship leader right now, and again, that will all bobble up and down through the rest of this race. Whoever finishes the highest of your championship 5 will end up with the top seed. That's going to be, of course, Cannon if the race were to finish right now. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but that's currently what we're looking at. However, we have 3 races to decide this championship. To start strong is one thing, to keep going strong is the next. And right now, the top 10 see 3 of your title contenders. All 5 again are on the lead lap, looking back to Matt Lennis and Davis, but it's all Blake Cannon through turns 1 and 2. 53 to go. Restart number 2. We're back in business. Ethan Lane, first to 5th, back in the mix again. So he's been better on those shorter runs. What can he do now? Even if, of course, he hasn't been able to keep the race lead consistently, he's got to put some pressure on it. Side by side between Thomas Bressi and Cannon. This again is for the championship lead. Cannon with a block and a rather abrupt one in 24 as he bobbles about a half lane high relative to where he got started. Now Lane with a shot to go a little lower. And with the field so jam tight, you've got guys who are just looking for the win, and then others who are looking at it for championship reasons, and this is where it becomes tricky. How can you balance what you want compared to the drivers around you? Laria's up high, and he's not stopping. Blake Cannon here. He's got himself just ahead of Bresci again. Let's see if he makes a block up to the high side, or if he even can, and he can't. Now Drucker with a great run. Bresci looking faster. Side by side, not clear but quick. Thomas Bresci sends the message through 3 and 4. Gordon with Cannon. So we've got both the Blakes now battling for podium placement. Gordon is going to follow Thomas Bresci's lead, as does Tom Wetmore. 2 Roadhouse Racing guys together. The 69 and the number 27. JTM Motorsport more separate now since Matthew Thunhorst is still in the back of the field. Thunhorst is on the lead lap in 27th. Hunter Matalettis in 22nd. Jared Davis is in 17th, and so his recovery run has gotten off a little stronger, but he still needs to make up more time in these next 50 laps. .49 laps to go. Laria's got the edge front and center. Watch from here as the battle for second persists. Third caution And it looks like trouble again in the back of the field. Yellow is out, and it's a multi-car wreck involving Tyler Hensley and Ethan Lane. Championship implications with the 6 involved. Watch this. Top 5 at the time of this incident, and now he's going to have a hill to climb up and, of course, a hole to dig out of. Oh, just contact with Hensley off the wall, and he ricochets back. That gets Justin Morton and the number 5 of Hensley, but Lane now at the back of the field. Huge change up in the running order. Ethan Lane, wow. Big problems for the 9, the 5, and the 6. And Ethan is now got to fight to keep going. Four, 7 laps to go. Lane on pit road. Huge damage. The caution's out. Double file again in a few laps time here. Majority of the field is going to stay out as we will have about 45 laps to go, if that, when we go green. Matt Sisler, Matthew Thunhorst, Justin Morton, all together here. Here comes the number 8, and he'll dip in. Thunder's 25th as he rolls in, doesn't have damage, just coming off of being 1 lap down and off the strategy cycle, and he'll come with less time now, but even still, if he's got himself a top off, he'll worry a lot less than those around him. Here's Brandon Bernhardt, and notably Jared Davis is up to 13th. So Davis is not done yet, and looking at the strategy numbers, he is right about in sync. Went down to pit road lap number 86, so he does have the same level of tire wear. With this caution bunching him up again, he could very well enter the top 10 very soon. "46 laps to go. Michael Araya has been able to keep himself all around these title contenders, and it looks like no matter what the case has been, he has not gotten any way to stop. That's a good thing. He's been persistent tonight, all throughout the drivers around. While they've thrown, of course, a big challenge at him, being involved in the championship race and having to tiptoe around that, Michael Araya has kept digging. 44 laps to go. We go back at it here. Araya to the bottom. Thomas Bressie up top. Bressie, Drucker. And then you'll have Blake Cannon beside his teammate and Tom Wetmore, while Gordon is the immediate follower of Michael Araya. Hunter Madalenis is in 16th as well, so he's not particularly far off of Jared Davis. And with both of them equal to rubber of the leaders, they should be able to make an appearance again in the top 10. And depending on how clean this race is from here to the checkered flag, they could be competitive. "45 laps to go. Araya set to get back at it The 44 car with 44 to go, your top man. Thomas Bressi rolling beside him again. He leads the championship standings now, and he's got a few extra cars to work with as buffer. He's been going up primarily against Lane Ethan with big damage. Now it's going to be Bressi versus Cannon. Green flag's out. Nobody beats Lariah, but it's firmly a fight for second between the 24 and the number 13. Way up to the high side goes Jack Drucker here. Drucker uses that top side, and he gets great power, but Wetmore slides in. So does Vinny Tigner. Tom gets away. Vinny gets away. No caution called. They are at the back of the field, but they keep it green. Contact for the number 69 and the number 12. And bring it back that lap, and you'll see how it develops. Just off our restart. And both of these guys running in the top 10 at the time of the incident. Tigner and Wetmore alike now outside the top 20 thanks to that one. Vinny was low, as was Wetmore. Looks like they had the same groove going. Oh, contact with Ronnie Osmer. Shook up Wetmore, went down to Tigner, and while they straightened it out, unbelievably, Tigner does, and Wetmore seemed to have his foot in the gas the whole time to get out. The caution fly. Michael Araya, Tom Bressi, right at each other. Bressi looking for the race lead. Couldn't get it that time by. All of Araya again. Blake Gordon, 18th to 4th, is now in the running for our biggest mover. Up 14 places, and we've barely talked about it. He's been alongside a lot of other guys who've had great runs, big improvements, and impressive stories, but Gordon has been able to prove that tonight he has overcome perhaps the traditional Blake Gordon race. Being great at the start, finishing it at the end with a little bit more trouble and falling down the line. But it looks like today, well, he's been able to keep himself just about as good as he started where he is right now. Strong running for Gordon, top 5 and perhaps eyeing the podium as Jack Drucker's right there for the taking. Take a ride on board and briefly with the number 13 team. Thomas Bressi watching perhaps that rearview mirror a little bit more. Swap over as Drucker gets away from the immediate pressure of falling out of the podium. Now it's going to be Gordon on Bressi. Again, championship lead still held by the 24. Blake Cannon is in 5th, only 2 spots back, and it is still, mostly anyway, going to come down to the 24 and the 27 as long as we stay under green. They've got such a big advantage that even though now Jared Davis and Hunter Madalenas are in the top 10, they would have to overcome so much that they will be probably, and again, it's not guaranteed, but they will have to keep overcoming the tire wear of overtaking everyone in the field. They've come from the mid-20s on up, and they are resurging again. Victory doesn't have to be the end goal. It doesn't have to be an outright win to make gains and see successes. I don't think that's going to be the expectation for any of these drivers who are in the championship running. Instead, what they're going to do right now is race against each other. It's not a field of 30 tonight. It doesn't matter if it's a field of 60, because for this championship race, it is a field of only 5 that really matter to one another. And that's the mindset you have to have. Even if Michael Araya is getting away for the lead, what he does doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. So for Thomas Bressi, it's better to run a great race and stay in 3rd than to fall back from 1st place And of course, Blake Gordon as well, not a championship contender, and there doesn't have to be immense concern in losing a spot to him. I'll say this much. Take everything I just said with a grain of salt, because there is the concern that you fall behind and end up with the drivers you're racing against. Because if he falls behind one Blake, you've got the other right there. So, yes, it's not as easy as we put it. And we just said it just a few seconds ago, so it's difficult to re-explain it. It's not a problem to be behind off the race leaders tonight, especially those drivers who are just going out there for the win, who aren't going to be in the points race for the championship. But what you don't have to worry about is the driver themselves. But imagine being put in that situation where the driver behind you is your title rival. Now, that's where things get tricky. Ronnie Osmer, Blake Cannon, Nick Tarbuck, Jacob Fife all in the fight now, and they're at the heart of the field, and they're going at each other. Ronnie Osmer hasn't yet gotten by Cannon, but it looks like now a lot more pressure in the 27. Thomas is up 7 places, qualifying-wise. Jacob Fife up 4th now. He's been able to get himself into the top 10. With some struggles for guys like Tigner, that bubble battle in the top 10 anyway has cooled off, and Fife has gotten the edge just by staying calm and collected and getting himself out of harm's way. 19th to 10th for Nicholas Ward. 9 spots added on his night, and he might be able to again get himself further up into the double-digit ladder. Jared Davis here. It's quick to take one away if he can. 11th place for Jared Davis. He's going for 10th. Hunter Madalenis, 12th. Here we go. Take a look inside the cockpit of the number 07, Hunter Madalenis here, with Nicholas Ward, 19th up to 11th place, just ahead. 4th down to 12, so Hunter's gone the opposite direction, but remember that he's gone as low as 26th, and in that sense, he is on a rebound of 14 places, and he still looks to be comfortable behind the cockpit. That's the big thing. Very difficult not to panic in a situation like this, and so far it looks like Madalenis has not done so. He has remained as calm as it gets, and just continue to hit his marks. Same with Jared Davis. Jared Davis is a little bit of a mystery. We very rarely hear from him. In fact, he has never taken an interview, despite the fact that he has race wins and podiums. He has voluntarily declined just about everything. And so, not much we know about what's going on for the 19 team. His secrets are safe with him. I guess that's the only way we can put it. Ronnie Osmer up high on Davis. He'll try to take that spot back. That'll be good for 9th. Matthew Thunhorse catching up to teammate Bresci, and now the JTM drivers are a little bit of a barrier against Roadhouse in the 27. Caution's out. 4th tonight. And it looks like we got some trouble here at the back of the field. And to figure out who it was, that's the question. It looks like Justin Morton down at pit road with some damage. Take a look. Oh, the motor blew in the 9. Now, I don't think that's the cause for the caution, but the motor did blow for Justin Morton. Now we're looking to see what the yellow flag was for. As it looks like, just after that, the caution flies regardless. Morton was on the racetrack at the time of the incident, and the yellow flag flies right around that point. So Morton goes down to pit road, but it looks like he's the only driver that was involved in anything there. So a safety yellow for what appears to be a track hazard there. Justin Morton's motor blows. 28 laps to go. Michael Araya, Jack Drucker, and Thomas Bresci, 1, 2, 3 with 28 laps remaining. We're going to come back with only about 25 laps left, but until we do, non-stop coverage from FTN. You won't miss a thing. We'll see who goes into pit road and when. Looks like we are seeing everyone come in. Let's watch that first, and then we'll take a quick break as pit road is jam-packed Now this should be it, which means a 3-stop race thanks to the cautions. To see who comes in and out first, we're watching. Entry has Michael Araya leading. On the way out, to be determined. Jared Davis getting into his stall. There's Steve Durham. 4 tires and fuel for the final time. And just barely, it looks like Jack Drucker over Michael Araya. Thomas Bressi leads the championship guys out, then Matthew Thunhorst. Then after that, it's going to be only just following Thunhorst, Blake Gordon. So, Bressi still leads the title hopefuls out of pit road, 27 laps to go. And a few holdouts remain up at the head of the pack in Fife, Osmer, Ward, Reichard, and Wetmore. Steve Durham passing through pit road. We're going to take a step back briefly and bring you back for coverage under green with 25 laps to go and less than that. We'll return right after this live on FTN.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
.25 laps to go with Jacob Fife and Ronnie Osmer beside each other. The 97 of Nicholas Ward gets to the bottom. Will Reichard is up top. Reichard in the highest spot he's been all race, 22nd up to 4th with gains of 18 places over the course of the night. And another one of those underdogs from outside the top 20 in qualifying looking to make a change. Will he be able to hang on? That's the question. Reichard close to a podium this season, but not yet has he been able to pull one through. He's one of the holdouts as the green flag flies. The last time Jacob Fife did this, he won at this track. Will he be able to do it again? Does lightning strike twice? Green flag for your 4th restart of the day. Michael Araya low. Ward way too slow. He'll go 3 wide, middle, and get sucked up. Sideways, nobody. Side by side, just about everyone. Nick Tartbuck takes it down to the inside of the track. You're seeing 3 wide with Blake Cannon and Blake Gordon. 3 wide now again with Kyle Cooper. 29th up to 13th with the number 73. 16 spots up. Then you got Cannon. Ronnie Osmer, Jared Davis again. Davis is now sitting on the back end of the top 10. Madeleines is in the single digits, and he is not that far at all from Thomas Bressi. Bressi is only just barely ahead of the line there. From 4th to 8th. 23 laps to go. And next time around, we're going to have to thank our friends at Track Cams, of course, Whiplash Sim Cams, making things happen with the best cameras on the iRacing market. Jack Drucker and Michael Araya going toe-to-toe, and as soon as they settle things, we're going to crank it up with the best cameras in the business. Araya up high, Drucker right below him, side by side for the 56 and the 44. Nobody else around. Drucker looks low into 1 and 2. Will he come clear? Yes, he does. Crossover. Michael Araya immediately swaps back He wants a spot and he is due to take it. Michael tries, and he has not failed yet. He has kept Drucker very honest here. Jax, interestingly enough, just hasn't been able to get that full back straightaway clearance, even though he's gotten the better drives, and now you see it. It took him a little while. 21 laps to go, and with our friends at Whiplash SimCams, the action begins and ends no matter where with the best cameras in the business. If you'd like to check them out, visit their Discord server for free camera packs. We'd like to thank our friends at Hipstop TV for joining the action with us at FTN and welcoming us to the Whiplash SimCams family. 20 laps to go. This time by, here we go again. Let's crank it up from Sin City here in Las Vegas. Jack Drucker, Michael Araya, your top two with 14 laps to go. Thunhorst in third, Thomas Bresci in fourth, Matt Alenis in fifth. Right now, the championship race comes down to these two. The race for the lead looks to now have Drucker up and ahead, and he was able to get that pile drive out of turn two. Just a few laps to go to get the edge. Now, Matt Alenis looks under Thomas Bresci, and two of the drivers who have struggled the most all day long are now leading the championship picture and hoping to make the gains necessary to go into Bristol with the advantage in the championship fight. Bresci, who qualified the poorest among all those in the mix, and Hunter Matt Alenis, who fell back to 26th place. Now these two are here, and they are in the here and now. This is it. Going down to the inside, Matt Alenis has it. Thomas Bresci's about a groove and a half higher. At times, he's right up alongside the 0-7, and it looks like this is one of those cases. Nick Tarbuck watching, waiting. He's right behind as well. And so now they'll come to the line with a dozen to do it. 12 laps to go, still side by side for the title edge. In the meanwhile, race lead, side by side again. Drucker now feeling the heat from Michael Araya. Araya tries to go low, can't quite get there. Michael shoots the shot to the bottom, just slightly ahead. Hunter Madalenis, more of the same with a slight advantage, just trying to eke it out. He can't clear. While he's faster, and while Bresci has not been able to get the great runs off the corners, it is not an open and shut case. Even to take the edge for now doesn't mean it's going to be finished off that way. Bresci lies back. Michael Araya now watching behind as Jack Drucker takes the lead again. But I think Drucker knows this is not going to be any easy and shut case. The rookie is looking for his second career win. His first coming all the way back in February at Daytona. It's been a long time coming. Araya up a groove again. He's going to try to set it up from the high side. In the meanwhile, Blake Cannon has come up on Thomas Bresci. And now, the number 24 team is fading. And he's having not necessarily problems, but he is not going to be quick enough. Hunter Madalenis now with the edge, and this will be a story of outright triumph as he now looks to get inside the podium for third, while a battle for the lead is side by side. Drucker still just ahead. Araya advantageous, 7th to 2nd. Well, of course, he's had the better part of it all night long, but now it looks like that advantage is worn out. 9 laps to go, coming to 8. Does Araya have any other trick up his sleeve, or is it all going to be smoke and mirrors from here? Michael going to take that high side. Drucker going to choose the exact opposite. Take him to the bottom. 7 laps to go. Madalenis in third. And this is an unbelievable story. If it's setting up the way we see it, Ethan Lane, perhaps the favorite to win the title, having a bad first race. He's going to come back and have to do a whole lot better up next. Meanwhile, Madalenis coming in as one of the last seeded drivers, falling back all the way to 26th position, and he's made it up to third. Everyone has gotten through, of course, once, at least once on Hunter Madalenis, and he's come back and he's almost taken over all of them. 6 laps to go, as a matter of fact. He's faster than these leaders, but I don't know if he has enough time. Six comes to 5, a 10.5 back. Michael Araya still there, and he has not let it alone. All the while, Blake Cannon has gotten by on Matthew Thunhorst, and Bresci is now sliding back to Nick Tarbuck. Thomas came alive at about lap number 35, but it looks like the light is maybe cutting a little short. Jared Davis in 8th place. He might be able to get by, and that would move Bresci back to the 4th highest of all your championship contenders, as Ethan Lane is set to finish 25th. He's still on the track, just trying to keep it on the lead lap here, but he is nowhere near leading contention. 4 laps to go. Hunter Madalenis might have a case for the win here. Not going to be easy. I mean, he's within striking distance, but even still, he has gotten up here so late that to do it would require still a whole lot of effort. Madalenis looks low. This is for second with 3 laps remaining. Three to go. Drucker only now 2/10 up on third place, and Lariah still right there. Matthew, of course, Thunderst, falling back to fifth. We talked about him. He was in third just before Madalenis broke through. He's now dropped back behind Blake Cannon, and he finds himself in the fifth spot. 2/10 back. It extends slightly. A quarter of a second now for Madalenis and Michael Lariah. If Jack Drucker can only just hang on, we'll see what happens. Coming up the track, Madalenis not nearly as quick as he needs to be. He's going to get in the wall. Contact there with Michael Lariah. That might be the final straw. Lariah gets away for second. Madalenis now in third, but that opens up the window for Blake Cannon with one lap to go. Jack Drucker, white flag, this is it. Cannon, against all odds, will go right back on Hunter Madalenis, and to the inside, he'll take third. Cannon now just has to close out the lap to lead the championship coming out of Las Vegas. It's been the better part of 8 months since Jack Drucker has come to victory lane. The rookie kicked off his career with a win at Daytona, and with mistakes behind and the championship stakes higher than ever, Jack Drucker does it again. Second win of his career, and going all out for the checkered flag works and then some. Drucker is the winning man from Sin City. Cannon for third behind Michael Lariah leads the championship coming out of Tennessee. Huge performance for Cannon. Madalenis only drops one spot back thanks to that late race mistake. It's going to cost him, but it's not going to cost him a whole lot, and he's lucky that it happened on the last lap. Cannon and Madalenis both fell outside the top 25, mind you, and they are the top two finishers of your championship contenders today. Definition of never give up. And Jack Drucker has been waiting months for this chance, and he finally gets to celebrate, burning it down. Jack Drucker on top of the field tonight. He comes home with his second win of the season and a long-awaited return to the top step. Your racing results tonight go as follows, with Drucker leading 36 laps and coming away in first, second being Michael Lariah leading 59, and third place then and there being Blake Cannon. He's able to come back and lead the championship drivers, with Hunter Madalenis then fourth after that last lap bobble. You'll have Matthew Thunderst in fifth, Thomas Bresci in sixth, Nick Tarbuck in seventh, Jared Davis in eighth, and Vinny Tigner P9. Blake Gordon goes 10th on the day with 11th place immediately after that. That's the driver in the number 73, Kyle Cooper, from 29th. He gains 18. 19th is, of course, going to be Nicholas Ward. Let's work our way there. Cal Filarski, Josh Gallagher, Seb Miller, Boomer Logan, the last drivers in the top 15 with Steve Durham, Daco Parka, Jacob Fife, and the aforementioned Nicholas Ward for the 19th spot. Ronnie Osmer wraps up the top 20, and your last drivers go as follows with Will Reichert, Tom Wetmore, Casey Shue, Ethan Lane, Brandon Bernhardt, Matt Sizzler, Justin Morton, Tyler Hensley, and Sam Nieto. Of all those that competed, perhaps a shock that Jack Drucker, the up and down race he had, is the winning man at the end of it. But we got to get a word from the driver who made it happen, did the unthinkable, and went from, of course, months and months trying to get through, finally bringing it back to victory lane. It is your second win on the season, Jack. Welcome back to victory lane.
It has been way too long since we've talked, David. How are you doing? I hope that was a hell of a show.
And it was a great battle. You and Michael Araya to the end. You were not given a break, and yet you still made it happen.
You only get so many opportunities to win these things, right? I mean, the Coke 300 earlier this year came up second. There's a few other little ones scattered between there, but it's been a long time since we've been on the podium. And last week had a power outage that kind of hurt our chances of making the Champ 5, but sweet redemption, man. I can't believe it. That was absolutely the hardest I've driven on this sim ever. And props to Araya. He ran me super clean. That was about as good a battle as you're going to get.
And you mentioned that first and foremost, you and Michael Araya were very clean from beginning to end of that fight. But let's go back to the beginning. You qualified third today, so you had pace to start. Were you confident about making it through the whole distance at that rate?
That's the last couple of weeks had some good qualifying runs. Definitely improved on that since the start of the season. But I don't know. You just kind of hang around, stay in position, and maybe one comes your way, right? Like I know Ethan had some issues tonight. There was some strategy disagreements between Hunter and Jared compared to the rest of the field. So I don't know. We played the cards right. It's a good time to do it in Vegas.
And of course, finally getting that opportunity. Now, we had some yellow flags. Strategy-wise, anyway, you think you had a better long-run car or short-run car?
I think I was good at both. The stint right before we were going to get into green flag stops there, the fuel saving kind of messed with the tire burn. So, like, some of those guys up in the front, like Blake and Hunter and Bressie, those guys were really driving incredible there in the middle of the stint. The back was way too heavy off of how I drove it. But then when the cautions came out and we started to get the little bit shorter stints, it's kind of like you can just go. But at the same time, that whole last stint, the first set of tires and the second set of tires, when you're up there battling for the lead and trying to get track position, you're not really thinking about how well you're saving tires, right? You're just hoping on getting position on the guy with you.
And by all accounts here, making it work out. This is one that's been long awaited for this team. Second win. It's been a great rookie campaign. I'm sure it stings a little that this comes not as a championship contender, but now 2 more races. First coming up in Bristol. What's the end goal now?
The end goal is Rookie of the Year. Championship 5 was always a lofty goal. It was a proud season to get a win, period, Daytona, and then advance into the second round. And we came into this race leading Rookie of the Year in a good spot. And I'd say tonight definitely put an exclamation point on that. So if we can just make it through Bristol and Homestead with 2 more top 10s, I think we can come out of here with Rookie of the Year honors.
And a huge step toward that goal in the form of a win tonight, Jack. Victory in Sin City. Anything else you'd like to add? The floor is yours.
For an entire summer, I've been trying to get my mentor, Tom Shermanek, a shout out. We've been trying on that just to get into the booth on one of these. So congrats, Tom. We did it.
Jack Drucker, winner from Las Vegas. It's been a long time coming, but a great way to get it. Thank you for your time, Jack.
Thank you so much, David.
Michael Araya, second place and just on the losing end. He had an amazing performance, however, all things considered. And the 44 team proving, again, one of the best in the business, just a little short on the final run tonight.
Yeah, man, I got to give a shout out to Jack there. That was one hell of a battle. We raced each other as hard as we could without wrecking each other, basically there. Really couldn't ask for a better battle. I mean, I think we both gave it our all, and he just did such a great job, especially just having that raw short run speed to be able to get around me. And then the times I could get around him for a turn, he would just come back with a head of steam and be able to really pick good lines to hold me off there. So it was just a really a pleasure battling him tonight.
And absolutely, that was the highlight of your race, but additionally, you led almost 60 laps, and no matter who was battling you, and a lot of these guys who were in the championship race, you held a steady wheel and you didn't back down. Did that factor at all into how you approached this night?
Definitely. Unfortunately, the last round just did not go my way with luck. I had computer issues to start the round there, and I was just in a hole, and it was just really hard to dig out with Daytona and Martinsville. So, it stinks, but it is what it is. And my goal is, let's close out this season and get some wins and be a spoiler like Tony Stewart was in 2006. So just trying to go for wins at this point. But tonight, I knew I had a decent shot, being a mile and a half, being a track that has high tire wear, and you know, I wanted to, not necessarily roll over for these guys and put up a good fight, but at the same time, be respectful and be aware of what they have on the line too. So I think I did as good of a job as I could, staying true to my word, racing as hard as I could without pushing the issue and wrecking one of these guys, which is the last thing I want to do.
And it was as clean as it came. A strong performance, just a little off the checkered flag, but an amazing effort and a battle to look forward to perhaps seeing again in seasons to come. Michael Arias, second here. Before we move on to Bristol, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, of course, got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Sim Speed Shop. Shout out to Adamans, of course, for running this league, and yourself, David, for these broadcasts. And hope I can talk to you again before the year closes out.
P2 on the day. Michael arrived just a few tenths off with the most laps led in our opening race to the final round. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Now, those two drivers are not competing for the championship, but this next one is. Blake Cannon somehow makes this all work out. Of course, he was among those fighting up and down for the beginning of this race to the end, and Roadhouse Racing gets the edge over everyone to start the round of 5. One mistake from Madalenis is a critical pass for you, Blake, and you will lead us out of this first race in the championship fight up in front with a real shot to keep it going.
Yeah, man. Did exactly what we had to do tonight. Las Vegas isn't one of my stronger racetracks, so finally put together a good qualifying effort to where I didn't have to fight all night to get track position. Really felt like we played the strategy really good, and I was really good that second stint when we really went green, almost a fuel run. I was really good and was able to get to the lead and then battle Araya. So fortunate things shaked out the way they did. I shot myself in the foot on the last pit stop. I stalled it coming out of the pits, so to be able to battle back and finish third, I'll take it all day.
And a huge battle back. And you mentioned pit stop cycles were a little bit troublesome. We saw the mix of some green flag racing, but in large part, those cycles were all under yellow. Was it difficult to manage that for you? You think it would have been better, maybe more under green?
I kind of wished we could have done one green flag pit stop on that second run when everybody was, at the end of their fuel load. It'd have been interesting to see, but I don't know. This pretty much played out as good as it probably could have for me. Top three, going to one of the racetracks that I really don't run that good at. So some guys had some misfortune, and we got to go to Bristol next weekend and do the same thing we did this week, and I think we'll be really good.
Now we're going back to the short tracks. Last time you were there in the Octane Series, you and Tom Wetmore pulled off some team magic, did great, but Richmond's very different from Bristol. Is there anything specific in mind you have in approaching that track now?
I love Bristol. I was really good, on Tuesday night there earlier this year, and just misfortune. But I love Bristol. I feel like it's one of my better racetracks. So you got to qualify good, so you have good track position, and then you just got to stay out of trouble all night. Tire strategy and fuel strategy is going to be big there. Not so much fuel, but probably tire is a big part. When you pit, when you use them, and if you save a set. So got to keep the nose clean. Got to keep the fenders and the quarter panels on it. Got to stay up front, get stage points, and then capitalize like tonight when guys have misfortune.
Blake Cannon, P3 from Las Vegas, and a huge gain. And that last lap, you'll lead us out and continue the championship fight. Now with a lot more to fight for. Anything else you'd like to leave us with?
Just got to thank all the guys at Roadhouse. I know Tuesday nights haven't gone the way we had planned, but look, I'm proud to be on this team. And Tom, he's one of the best teammates there is, as well as Eric and John. So proud to be on House Motorsports. Thankful for all them guys for sticking with me. To have a shot this late in the year, it really means something and really says something about the team. So we've had a really good year, Monday and Tuesday so far. Nothing to hang our heads on, and I'm just ready to get going to next week, and hopefully we can capitalize. But also got to say, shout out to all the guys at the Integrity Racing League. They did a great job tonight. We had a lot of green flag laps, so that's a testament to all the guys, all the admins, Boomer, Jake, and all them guys for putting up with all the hard heads in the league. you for broadcasting. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Blake Cannon, the 27 team, lead Roadhouse Racing into a chance to bring home the title, doing so real strong tonight. Thank you for your time, Blake.
Thank you, David.
Cannon pulls off the one lap he needed, gets by Hunter Madalenis, and will have the edge into next week at Bristol. Michael Araya finishes second, but it will be Jack Drucker, your winning man tonight from Sin City. Now, next Monday night, we'll go racing again from Bristol for our penultimate race of the 2025 Tour, and we would love to see you there. Tomorrow night, the Octane Series goes racing as well. They begin their round of 5 and championship preparations at Auto Club. So from Fontana, join us again tomorrow night. Until then, you've been watching FTN Broadcasting, and I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated, and we'd love to have you back for our next coverage, either tomorrow with the Octane Series or next Monday with the Ignite campaign. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Jack Drucker on his second win of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night.